the Palace of Speed. The chaos early on in this race.
Imola, race number 2 here for Spec-5 World Tour in their 11th season so far. My name is Adam Thompson. I'm joined in the commentary booth tonight by Jacob Cummings and Alex Andersen here in just a little while. I'm going to be running the cameras as well, so you guys have me here for just a little while, but then we'll have Alex in here to take over for me. But before we get to racing, before we get to this qualifying, I'm going to bring up just a few track facts for you. It's 4.909, yeah, I know, real specific, kilometers, about 3 miles long. Imola is one of the few major international circuits to run in an anti-clockwise direction. The circuit is named after Ferrari's late founder, Enzo Ferrari. Pretty big man. If you haven't heard of him, you should probably look him up. And his son, Alfredo Dino Ferrari. Before Enzo's death, it was called Autodromo Dino Ferrari. Now, it is called Enzo E. Dino Ferrari. I'm sure you can understand why that is. But you can see here the track map that we have here on the info screen. Look at that run. That start-finish straight is going to be huge for overtakes tonight, especially technically going into turn 2, Variante Tamburello. But you can see that that's a chicane, so it should be pretty interesting tonight. Jacob, you've been watching just a few practice minutes here and watch some of the cars go around the track. What are you thinking tonight? You excited for it?
I am fired up, Adam. And yeah, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us here at this racetrack. And Ashley Lyle is looking fast out in the open class. She won last week. She came out of the gates hot and showed the best example of actual speed and clinched the victory for the open class. And then we have Ronnie Coates that's been putting up really fast numbers, but in practice I did notice, I know practice doesn't matter, what are we looking at here in, so Ronnie Coates just finished his first lap for 206.
So
26.
He did 206.062 for Ronnie's first lap, but I'm going to cut you off here, Jacob, and take this over. We're going to go on an onboard here with Ashley around one of the coolest racetracks, I think, and we're going to follow her on board because she was the open class winner, and I've got a little bit of bias. She's running our slow motion paint. But here we go into technically turn 2. This is the Varianta Tamburello complex. Hard left. Look at the back end of the car just starting to want to waggle out. She takes as much curb as she can on the right side. Already through turn 4. Now you got another long run up here into turn 5 and turn 6. Variante Villeneuve. Now, this is another spot that you can really get an off track. You're going to watch her here. She's going to catch a bunch of curb, and she may have just caught an off track right there going to the right side. We haven't talked about that yet, but we will after this lap. Turn number 7 into Tosa. She takes that a little bit wide. Doesn't really have. She'll have a drive out, but wasn't able to really cut down to the inside like she wanted to. Now we're going to come down. This is technically turn 8, which isn't even a corner name. Turn 9, Piratella. This is when it's going to start getting pretty interesting. Now she's going to come through 9, start going down the hill. Now she's going to take 2 right-handers, the Aqua Minerale, turn 11 and 12. You can really open up turn 12 here. She gets wide. Now she can really cut this off. Got to be careful not to open it up too much because it does cut back in. So now we're going down the straightaway. This is where we're going to see a bunch of off tracks tonight. I have a feeling. Varianta Alta, turn 14 and 15. On the brakes a little bit after the 50-meter board. Is she going to be able to hold on to it? Catches 1, catches 2. Very nice indeed. Holds onto the rear end again and doing just fine so far. Now the long run down to turn 16 and 17. She's probably going to start braking right after turn 16, which is right now. Now you can see the front end of the car drop down. Turn 17, Ravazza here coming through. Very nice exit. Now she's got to get a great exit because you can gain or lose quite a bit of time right here. Back down the front stretch, and this will complete her lap. See where she comes out. Looking for Ashley. She's run 2 green sectors so far. Where's it going to put her? Crossing the line now. Going to be a... Is she going to improve? It doesn't look like she's going to. So, still... Bruce Silva there in the open class actually taking it from her, which was pretty surprising, Jacob, looking at some of the practices we've seen earlier.
Yeah, Bruce Silva, honestly, not even really on the radar yet for us. But here in qualifying, it looks like he's really turning it on for us, you know?
He really is. So you mentioned here, right before we went live, in the practice times, you can see Camden Hibbett has done it already with the 205.852. We haven't seen a single open class driver hop into those 205s yet.
Yeah, Adam, not a single one. And the closest one in practice was Ashley Lyle with a 206, but nobody broken the 205 threshold with the pros.
Yeah, not yet, but we'll have to see here. I'm going to go ahead and get these lap times pulled up for you so we can see what their times are, and then we can put an interval here as well. So yeah, look at these times here. Those blue, remember the blue denomination is the open class and the red is the pro. So right now we are riding along with Bruce Silva, who is the leader right now in the open class. Camden Hibbett, though, really taking it off like he was last week there. First place, trying to start out strong. See what he can do here on his, what lap is he? On his second lap. And these guys, remember, have 4 laps, 15 minutes to complete 4 laps around this track. So I would say probably lap 3, 2 or 3, you're really going to have the tire warmth that you need to really get around this track. We're watching him come through that always tricky Variante Alta chicane. But right now, Hibbett in the lead with Pulici, Eugenio Pulici, the Italian there in second place, sliding that car around turn 7 of Tosa. Doing a great job so far with Ronnie Coates, last week's winner there in third, followed by Rui Coimbra, who was a serious threat last season, I should say. Really hasn't been much of one yet this season. Thinks he's still trying to get that car back underneath him after all of the updates that these have gone through lately. But speaking of Ashley Lyle, she's back down there in 4th place in the open class.
Maybe she's taking a minute to figure things out here, Adam. But I mean, everybody's still getting their cars warmed up. I'm sure she'll improve by the end of qualifying.
Yeah, I would hope she does. We'll see. Sean Hayes, remember, we talked about him last week. He was not in the race, Jacob, but man, if he is in the race, you really got to watch out for him as an open class threat. Already has done a great job with that Miata. 11th place right now, ran a 207.242. Man, these open drivers really are way off the pace compared to these pros, what we saw in practice.
And Adam, I really do wonder where, maybe it's a certain part of the track that the open class drivers are kind of struggling with. I haven't spotted it yet, but I'll let you know if I do.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say Variante Alta is going to be one of the bigger issues for these drivers. Again, these off tracks do count as well. If you get an off track in qualifying, by the way, it invalidates your lap. And I do want to mention before we get into the race, wow, as we see Sean Hayes somehow hold on to that car, he decides to take it back to the pits. But we have these off tracks are going to be really important around here. There are 20X before they get a drive through. And I don't know if you've ever run Imola, Jacob, but let me tell you what I have. In the off tracks here are very, very finicky, very picky. You can pick up an X extremely easily. So it's going to be interesting to see what these guys can do come race time when you're battling, especially down this front straight going into 2 and 3. We're probably going to see some action and probably see a little bit more than I think these drivers are going to want.
Yeah, Adam, these Miatas, they take a little while to get going on these straights, but coming into these corners, I'm sure it'll be an interesting every corner around.
It will be. The slipstream on these cars are just extremely potent. So going to be interesting to see what exactly we can do as we're riding on here with Michael Coates about to cross the line, see what he can do. We do have Simon Foweather on 3 green sectors right now. See what he can do for the final lap coming through Variante Alta. Does it just fine. We'll see if he can run another green sector. This could be a good one here for Simon.
This is looking like a very fast lap for Simon. Yes, sir. This is what we like to see in qualifying. He's coming into this corner super fast, holding it tight, and he holds on, and he's that really might close. Be an off track. I'm not sure.
He's doing a great job. If that wasn't an off track, I think he's going to be on for a really, really good lap here. Coming across the line, 205.
I don't mean to interrupt you,
and here's Alex. Go ahead, Alex.
I don't mean to interrupt you, my good sir, but I gotta mention, I picked up on you saying this a couple of laps ago. Sean Hayes was here last week. He was racing Ashley Lyle for the win, unless I misheard it because I wasn't paying attention. But, hello, Jacob. I apologize for the surprise entry, and I do apologize for being late. Traffic was quite bad outside of the track, and it took me a while to get up here, but I made my way up here, and so far, Jacob, only about 3 minutes left in qualifying, and here we see Michael Coates, and looks like drivers just trying to set their last couple of laps before the race starts.
Yeah, and I think it looks like Camden Hibbett's going to hold on to 205. It looks like we only have 3 drivers that broke into 205, and that would be Camden Hibbett, Eugenio Palucci, and Ronnie Coates. So, I mean, looks like they've got this track figured out. Let's see if everybody else can get it. I mean,
yeah, and that's what these guys are just going to have to try and do. They're just going to have to try and focus up. If somebody's in the back, like Ray Lombardi here, he won the Open Class Championship last season. If he wants to turn on the jets, he's going to have to just try and turn on the jets in quality and just try and figure this car out. We know how fast he was in the Open Class last season, but currently struggling right now as he heads towards Variante Alta.
yeah, and might I mention, so we mentioned off track. So at the end of qualifying, does it reset whenever we go into the race?
Yes, it does. So what will happen, say if you get 2 off tracks during qualifying, during the race you will start with 0. Qualifying off tracks and race off tracks are 2 separate things, but you can see the amount of off tracks that drivers have already gotten. You see the people leading with the most off tracks, Otis Adams Jr. and Simon Foweather, have gotten 4, and that's 4 chances at a lap that they have been invalidated because of that. Ray Lombardi currently sitting on 3. I'm not even sure if this lap is going to count for him. Brian Zabelski and Charles Vaccaro also sit with 3. So a lot of drivers struggling with off tracks. And Jacob, this is only qualifying. It's going to be a completely different mood come race time.
Yeah, especially with these slipstreams, they start battling. They start getting tight in these corners. I'm excited. I don't know.
Yeah, it's gonna be a heck of a race, and I mean, probably one of the biggest drivers to look out for in this race is going to be Eugenio Polici, the Italian of the field. He's at his home track right now, and I bet this crowd is going to be going wild for him. So it would be awesome for him if he could get his win here tonight. It looks like Nicky Borovic not going to get that lap to count, so your starting grid is official. And it looks like we'll pull it up for you right now. Camden Hibbett on pole with a 2:05.852. Eugenio Polici, the hometown driver, only just under 400s behind him, very close, and the draft is going to help him stay with the leaders. Ronnie Coates in there as well, last week's winner, with a strong showing early on. Rui Coimbra trying to get on a bit of a rebound after last week. You know how fast he is. You can't count him out. Otis Adams Jr. once again starts inside the top 5 with Mitchell Peak starting to his right, I believe, in there in P6. Simon Foweather is there in 7th. Michael Coates in 8th. Simon Foweather is there in 7th. Michael Coates in 9th. Wow. Michael Coates in 8th. I apologize if I repeated myself several times. I'm having some fun over here. Nicky Borovic starts P9, not Michael Coates. Lee Martin starts in 10th. Sean Hayes on the open class pole, but he has another open class driver only 5 thousandths behind him there, and Bruce Silva starting 12th. Behind them, Jose Gonzalez brings another open class driver into the mix there in 13th. Brian Sabelski, Ray Lombardi, and Alexander Searle separate Jose Gonzalez from his next open class competitor, Josh Olson, in 17th. Then it's to Ashley Lyle in 18th. Tom Athan there in 19th. Strong showing last week from him. He'll be looking to be on a rebound after qualifying. Paulo Coimbra is there in 20th. Charles Vaccaro in 21st. And Greg Brockway is there in 22nd. Greg Brockway, I apologize. He's not racing tonight. Actually, if I do remember correctly, looking earlier, I believe he is ill. So we'll be thinking about you, Greg. We hope to see you back next week. And it looks like that rounds out your field. So Camden Hibbett on pole, only about 15 seconds away from these cars taking it to the track. And Jacob, before we get started, do you think you have any pre-race predictions for any of the classes?
Well, obviously we're looking at Ashley Lyle. She won the open class last week, but honestly, we're looking at Otis Adams. I really like him. He was looking really strong in practice. In his qualifying, I'm not really sure, but I really think those two are going to be to look for. Obviously, you want to look for your Ronnie Coates and everybody else, Camden Hibbett, everybody. But yeah, everybody. Only time will tell in these next couple minutes. Let's see how this first couple laps go, huh?
Most certainly. I think if I had to pick 2 drivers for the race, Eugenio Polici, the hometown driver for the pro class, I think he'll have a strong showing tonight, probably practice a lot for this. And for the open class, I think I might look for Bruce Silva to get his first win tonight. He's starting right next to Sean Hayes and has a really good shot, but like you said, Jacob, only time will tell as the iRacing safety car dives into the safety of the pit lane. Now, it is all up to the drivers as they head down the front straight here at Imola, and they await the green flag. We're waiting. It's a really long wait for the green flag. They have to get to the line. Wow. Oh, they might actually have to get to the Formula 1 starting spot. There it is. The green flag is out, and we are racing from Imola. Camden Hibbett with a great jump there. Eugenio Polici trying to stay side by side with him. They're already 3 wide, fanning out in the back. Camden Hibbett clears for the lead. 3 wide for third there. Looks like Rui Coimbra having to back out of that. Side by side into turn number 1. Camden Hibbett going to end up with the better of it. Eugenio Polici ends up in second. Ronnie Coates right behind him in third. Everybody's still right on top of each other, single file for the most part throughout the field. Sean Hayes still leads the open classes. Bruce Silva still tries to chase him. Jose Gonzalez is right there. He's got Alexander Searle on his tail as they head through, I believe, Variante Villeneuve there. And then into Tosa. It looks like everybody just single file for the most part, trying to take the first lap nice and calm. Camden Hibbett got away very cleanly with the lead. That's side by side between Simon Foweather and Rui Coimbra. Coimbra is already down 3 spots. He'll be into 7th now with that, and Coimbra from 4th to 7th in 1 lap. That is not what he needs to see.
No, it is not, Alex. And but I thought I saw some people getting tight back in the back of the pack. Maybe not. Everybody's. Yeah.
Somebody might have spun back there. I mean, maybe. It looks like the field is all still together, though, so everybody's still maintaining their positions. Brian Sabelski down 4 spots. Rui Coimbra down 4 spots. But meanwhile, for people that have gained, Mitchell Peak brought himself up 2 places into 4th. And side by side in the Variante Alta, Ray Lombardi making it stick around the outside on Josh Olson. Ashley Lyle comes to try and take advantage of that party, and it looks like they'll be side by side as they head toward Ravazza. And here we go as the field starts to just settle in for the 45-minute race. It looks like Ashley Lyle going to come out on top, moves herself up into P16 there. And now let's go back to the leaders, because Joshua Soto is going to have a massive run. We know how the draft works in these cars, and the Italian driver of the field is looking to get a massive run here to try and go for the lead. I bet the crowd will be cheering him on. It looks like you can hear the lift, so it looks like he might be saving a little bit of fuel onto the brakes a little bit earlier than Camden Hibbett, just trying to preserve that car. They'll stay single file for now as they head through turns 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, Alex, I'm quite impressed that everybody made through that very cleanly. But looks like, let's see how they come into Toza, turn 7 here. Or this is turn 6, Variante Villeneuve.
Yeah, I mean to cut you off, and then, it's Tosa, turn 7. That hairpin is going to be a really good passing opportunity all day long for these drivers. Ronnie Coates taking advantage of his run out of it, tried to make a move on Eugenio Polici there, but it looks like not able to make it stick. These 3 cars under a blanket for second as Camden Hibbett continues to just check out and just hang out in the front, but it looks like they'll be able to spread out a little bit more as they head through Piratella, now down into Acqua Minerale. And it looks like Sean Hayes still holds on to the open class lead. Bruce Silva is still there, though. Looks like somebody slid a decent bit there into Acqua Minerale there. I'm not sure who that was. Saw a little bit of tire smoke. Everybody keeping it clean for the most part. We've had no incidents in the first 2 or the first 1.5 laps of this race, so everybody's trying to keep calm, maintain their coolness. And now, Sean Hayes very loose out of that corner. Here's Tom Athan running in the 077 cars. It looks like, Bruce Silva might have a shot at the lead after that from Sean Hayes. You saw how loose he got out of Variante Alta and into Ravazza. Maybe, just maybe, Bruce Silva could think about a move, but it looks like he won't be able to for now. Still looking at Tom Athan, he's down 1 spot. He's with the most X's in the field, sitting on 2. And, with that drive-through penalty that comes from getting 20 X's, Jacob, how disastrous would that be for somebody's race?
It would be an absolute nightmare. But to get 20, everybody's keeping it really tight right now. There's a lot more laps left to go, but everybody's being pretty courteous right now to each other.
I wanted to mention that as well. I was talking with Jacob before this broadcast went live, Alex, and I was really, really expecting the moves into the technical turn 2, the Tamburello chicane, to just be massive, because the slipstream that these will pick up from turn 18 down to turn 2 are huge, but everybody is keeping it very, very clean at the moment.
Yeah, they're
at the moment.
Yeah. Sorry, like you said, at the moment. So, it could very well evolve into chaos as the race goes on. But so far, I wouldn't be shocked if there hasn't been any car-to-car contact throughout the field. Everybody's driving very smart right now. Here's a move. Ashley Lyle tries to get to the inside of Ray Lombardi, and that's going to be some car-to-car contact. Jacob, you said at the moment, and it looks like that might be your first commentator's curse there, as Ray Lombardi almost goes around. He saves it. That's going to draw these guys way off the back bumper of Jose Gonzalez, and Ashley Lyle, I don't know if she's going to be able to keep up now, as Eugenio Polici actually just took the lead.
Yeah, she definitely did lose a spot from P16 to P15, and now it's going to be definitely a struggle with any potential damage that could have happened right there.
We're going to go back and watch this pass. Okay, here we go again, because I'm really awesome and I always keep it in slow motion. Watch this pass by Eugenio, and I was just mentioning down to turn 2, Alex, that this was going to happen, but Eugenio, you have to get it done early because that chicane, this is a passing opportunity, obviously, as Mitchell Peak even made a move there on Ronnie Coates, but was he able to get it done? That's the question, and it looks like he was able to get it done going down into turn 1. So, see, I'm commentators cursing everything right now. Now we're starting to see some moves.
I think that might be the first case I'll ever see with a positive commentator's curse there. You said, hey, they might make a move into turn number 1 if they don't kill each other. They made a move into turn number 1, and heck, they didn't kill each other. So, I mean, positive commentator's curse. I'm giving you a round of applause for that one over my chair. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but I'm giving you a round of applause. Here's Simon Foweather trying to get an over-under on Otis Adams Jr. right now. They'll head towards the Villeneuve chicane side by side, it looks like. Otis not giving him an inch, but Simon still sticking with the corner, and Simon ends up dooring him. That's going to send Otis tumbling down the leaderboard, and Nicky Borovic's going to get a move in on him as well. And actually, that's a not a team 2-for-1 for Nicky Borovic right there. Got around Otis Adams Jr. and Rui Coimbra in the same corner in one fell swoop, so that's going to move him up a lot, and that's going to give him a better shot. But so far, it's a 4-car main pack now as Eugenio Polici, the Italian, in the lead at one of his home tracks as Camden Hibbett still trying to hold on.
I do want to mention as well, real quickly, Greg Brockway, of course, in his normal Greg fashion, did correct me, as you did as well, Alex. Sean Hayes was battling with Ashley Lyle last weekend, and Ashley Lyle did come out on top. I am just not used to seeing Sean Hayes lose, so I apologize for that, but yes, Sean was in the race, and Ashley beat him. Very impressive.
Well, you're not seeing him lose right now, as he's currently in P11, a spot ahead of Bruce Silva right now, and Jose Gonzalez is still with him. These guys are still in a pack. This is almost what happened last week, if I'm not mistaken. I do believe Alexander Searle was in between the battle of Ashley Lyle and Sean Hayes last week at Twin Ring Motegi, and now he'll be in the midst of another open class battle in between Sean Hayes and Bruce Silva at the current time. And the thing is, Jacob, how do you try and get around Alexander Searle if you're Bruce Silva? How do you make that move without losing too much time off Sean Hayes?
Well, you're going to have to make it in one of the straights. Obviously, you can't. You got to make it before you come into this turn 2, 3, and 4, the Tamburello chicane. But other than that, I mean, staying in those drafts and trying to make it on those straights into those corners on an inside cut or something. That's how I think they'll do it.
Another opportunity, actually, now that I think about it, could happen into the Tosa hairpin up here. We'll see it in a second. It could happen into the Tosa hairpin if the move is quick. If the move is quick going into this hairpin, they're hard on the brakes coming into this corner. You see how much they have to slow down for it. If the move is made quick into there, might be able to come out without having lost any time at all if Bruce Silva could pull off this move quickly. But Camden Hibbett got back into the lead, presumably down the front straight there. Mitchell Peak was all over Eugenio Polici's back bumper just then, as Simon Foweather now trying to close the gap to Ronnie Coates to bring that group of cars back into the lead pack, as he is leading Michael Coates, Nicky Borovic, Rui Coimbra, Otis Adams Jr., and Lee Martin. All of those drivers are going to be looking to getting back into the lead, but here's the move that Camden Hibbett made for the lead. It might be identical.
Gave him a taste of his own medicine.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like, yeah, pretty much exactly what Eugenio Polici did, just different lanes there. Camden Hibbett goes to the inside and gets around Eugenio Polici before the corner. That moves him back into the lead, and, I mean, Jacob, that's probably the easiest passing opportunity, but how often do you think we're going to see that?
Well, it's probably going to happen every lap. And somewhere throughout the pack. I mean, somebody's going to have that opportunity, so we'll just have to look for it, spot it out.
And Simon Foweather off track just then through Ravazza. He'll bring it back onto the course. It looks like he went side by side with, I believe it's Michael Coates in the 213 car. And it looks like, I guess he wasn't expecting Nicky Borovic to be there. Just turned into the corner without looking to his left and ended up hitting that 75 car, sends him off track. He'll end up rejoining the pack there in 10th place, but he's not with any drafting partners right now, save for Sean Hayes behind him. And that is not going to be what he needs for this race. As Michael Coates now going to have to lead the charge for this group of cars to get back up to Ronnie Coates and these other drivers. And we know how powerful the slipstream is here, Jacob, but I mean, how can Michael Coates make up time elsewhere? I mean, he's not going to have the draft of the cars in front of him, but where else on the track can he make up time?
If he can stay tight in these corners and hit the lines properly and not burn up his tire, you know, hitting the corners properly, I think is going to be, you know, next up to these hitting the straights.
Jacob, you actually brought up a good point there. Tires and burning up tires. I have not gotten any information, and I did not have enough time to test drive these cars this afternoon, but I'm wondering, Alex, what they're going to do when it comes to the pit stops. I would expect some right side tires to go on, but man, the right and the lefts, both of them they're pretty even in terms of corner numbers and how you take these. But I think tires are going to be more important than we expect because a lot of these corners are very high speed. Wow.
Yeah,
that's a big off track.
Yeah, so I would presume with a lot of left. Yeah, I mean, like you said, Jacob, probably an off track for Michael Coates, and you can see it's a 1X now, so probably. And like you mentioned, Adam, I would reckon right side tire is going to go on for these cars. Usually the rule of thumb for pit stops on these cars when they fill up for fuel is that they'll be able to take right sides, or they'll be able to take 2 tires, no issues. You can get back out while the car is still refueling. But if they take 4 tires, the car will, the engineers and the mechanics will still be replacing the tires once the car is done refueling. So, I mean, yes, they could take 4 tires, but it's going to cost them some time. So probably right side tire is going to go on. But here's side by side into the Tamburello chicane for the lead. Looks like Eugenio Polici going to almost miss the corner and retake the lead from Camden Hibbett. That was a very big send, and he'll hold on to it. I thought he was going to miss the corner.
He's going to hold on to it for now, but now Hibbett's down the inside with Mitchell Peak pushing Polici. Anything could happen here. Peak's got to watch out. Looks like he's going to get the move done on Hibbett. Hibbett's lost 2 positions over the last 4 corners. Unbelievable move by Peak to just take advantage of that move that Polici did. And let me tell you what, I haven't really seen Polici drive like this ever in any Spec 5 race. He's driving angry. He wants this win tonight.
Well, I mean, he is the hometown hero right now. The only Italian in the field trying to get it done in his home country. So I would presume that that's exactly what he wants to do. But yeah, Sean Hayes, something happened to him. He's now 4th in class. This is going in Aqua Minerale. It looks like, oh no, that's a very easy mistake to make. Clip the grass on entry. Just sends the car around. When you hit the brakes when 2 tires are in the grass, the car just spins right around on you. That's exactly what happened to him. He loses places to a bunch of open class drivers. Bruce Silva and Ashley Lyle, I believe Jose Gonzalez also among them. That sense, it looks like they're still in a pack, these 4 cars. They're still in a little bit of a pack themselves, but it looks like Sean Hayes is going to be on an uphill battle now as Ashley Lyle going to have a shot at the open class lead. Bruce Silva leading this group of 4 open class drivers. I'm not going to lie to you, Alex. I did not expect Ashley Lyle to be here right now. I mean, she just looked so far off the pace at the beginning of the race, and it's just, she's totally turned it around. I don't know what she's done, but now she's about to get a heck of a run, an amazing final corner. She's going to get a run down Brew. Watch out, Jacob. I think she may be going for this move that you were talking about.
Yeah, I think she's about to give him the special sauce. Let's see what she does.
You can already see Bruce defending that inside. I don't even know if he's going to have enough because if Ashley can hang it around the outside here, she's got the advantage on the next corner, and she does it. Unbelievable move.
And here comes Jose Gonzalez as well, trying to take advantage of that. I'm not sure if he'll be able to. It looks like he's into the gravel a little bit, but it looks like he'll have to settle for 3rd place in class. And now these drivers have to stop racing each other and catch up to Ashley Lyle, because if they start racing each other, Ashley's just going to pull away and she'll end up winning the race with not much competition from the other drivers. And now that we're about, I want to say maybe 6 or 7 minutes shy of the halfway point in this race, the pit stops are going to start to become relevant for these drivers, and we're going to have to start wondering when they're going to pit and what they're going to do for the pits. And it looks like, I mean, I'll have to pull up the broadcast notes, but if either of you want to fill in for me, what lap does the pit window open for these drivers?
That is a wonderful question, Alex, that I cannot answer you. I, again, was not able to get out on track long enough to see exactly when this pit window would open, but judging by other races in this series, it's got to be open by now. Probably lap 8 to, I'd say, lap 13, and I'm probably going to get proved wrong here. We'll see if Greg maybe corrects me just a little bit if he's done any type of driving on the track so far, but I would say lap 8 to 13. We're 16 minutes into this 45-minute race, and I really don't see two-stoppers in this league that much.
I know Randall isn't here right now, but I think this is the time where we play the segment for Randall's wrong pit guess. And actually, no, you guessed correct this time, as a lot of the top drivers into the pits, Eugenio Polici leads Ronnie Coates, Michael Coates, Nicky Borovic, and Lee Martin all in the pits. It looks like Lee not as close to the other drivers, but Mitchell Peak and Camden Hibbett elect to stay out, as well as Rui Coimbra and Otis Adams Jr. So these 4 cars that were in the main pack elect to stay out one more time. We'll have to see where or when they pit and when everybody else catches up to them. I would reckon that Eugenio Polici, Ronnie Coates, and all of those drivers might have an advantage now because they'll be coming out of the pits having served a shorter pit stop because they didn't have to spend much time in the pits refueling. But I mean, Jacob, if you're Mitchell Peak or Camden Hibbett, when do you come into the pits now?
You're gonna have to come in next lap. Otherwise, in my opinion, I've never driven this track, but I would think you would want fresher tires early on. Fuel is not, whatever, but fresher tires so they can make up this time. They're going to easily make up time on these guys that elected to stay out this extra however many laps. I'm excited to see who they like. Who's going to be the road dogs this week? You know what I mean?
Let me learn you something real quick, Jacob, about these cars. Tires are important, but being together is more important. And we watched for a half a lap that it was taking Camden Hibbett to get back up to the back of Mitchell Peak, and that is not helping either one of them. Now, if Camden goes for a move on Mitchell, it doesn't look like he's actually going to sit behind him and try to push him to get this draft working. And I know you're an oval driver, so you know what the draft is, because that's how important it is in these cars. And you saw Ronnie Coates come out right in front of Eugenio Polici, and I guarantee you what they're doing right now, if we go back and look at them, there they are. They haven't tried to pass each other. They're working together. Mitchell Peak and Camden Hibbett decide to go back around again, and now we can see them working together. So I would say it's going to be a lot closer than we think it will. We're just going to have to start looking at lap time. So we see Mitchell Peak, Camden Hibbett ran a 2:07 and a 2:06.558. Wait for Coates and Polici to come through, and we'll see exactly what they run, and that's going to be pretty interesting. It's going to be an interesting lap for sure, this one, because we're going to know that these guys are going to run a little slower because they just came out of the pits. But get ready for this next lap. That's going to make the difference, make or break them, because they were all so close.
Another thing about that is they just came out of the pits that lap. Ronnie Coates and Eugenio Polici are going to have some cold tires that they're going to have to spend that entire outlap warming up. And it looks like we have more drivers into the pits now. Brian Zabelski, Ray Lombardi, Alexander Searle, and Ashley Lyle all into the pits. It looks like Ashley's going to lead them out of the pits. And it looks like she was the only open class driver to come into the pits that lap. So the top 11 are all the drivers that have yet to come into the pits. And I would reckon that, Jacob, like you said, I reckon Mitchell Peak and Camden Hibbett, they got to come in now. They're gonna be on lighter fuel loads they're gonna be on lighter fuel loads, but that's not gonna help them, especially if they're racing for the lead. And I know we saw Camden Hibbett pushing Mitchell Peak down the front straight, but I would reckon that Ronnie Coates and Eugenio Polici, they might be pushing, but they aren't really on top of each other at all. They're just hanging out, using the slipstream to their advantage. And with Camden Hibbett and Mitchell Peak running so close and racing each other for the lead, I would reckon they gotta come in now.
Yeah, Alex, and you really do notice that all drivers throughout the track seem to be initiating the buddy system. and it's a beautiful thing, and it's helping everybody. But Ashley Lyle, smart decision pitting. These other open class drivers, we'll see how they come out of the pits on cold tires late in the race whenever they're trying to make up some time. They're trying to get back into it because they've just lost all their positions that they've been in, you know?
Yeah, and it looks like Mitchell Peak and Camden Hibbett still staying out. Rui Coimbra and Otis Adams, those two teammates, also stay out that time by. And you can see now Camden Hibbett just pushing Rui Coimbra down this front straightaway towards turn number 1. Or Mitchell Peak. Wow, I think I said Rui Coimbra. I'm so used to the 78 car being up front. I don't know what's happening anymore. Yeah, so I do apologize. Otis Adams was pushing the 78 car, and Camden Hibbett was pushing the 56 car. I got him backwards. I do apologize. But, I mean, now they're working together, it looks like. So now I reckon if you're in Eugenio Polici and Ronnie Coates' spot, you got to start getting on top of each other. Not because you want to race, but because you want to push each other down this front straight. And it looks like that's not what Eugenio Polici is thinking. He's going for it. No, it looks like he lifted a little bit there, so didn't try to pass. But, I mean, if you were in Eugenio's spot, you would probably have to push Ronnie Coates there, push him down the front straight, like what Mitchell Peak and Camden Hibbett are doing, just to make sure that the time stays towards the good, and you don't end up losing that much time to Mitchell Peak and Camden Hibbett. Because the thing is, I mean, on a longer fuel run as well, Mitchell Peak and Camden Hibbett are going to have to spend more time in the pits because they're going to have to put more fuel in the car. Actually, no, I take that back. They might not have to put more fuel in the car because they have less laps left in the race. So Eugenio Polici and Ronnie Coates are probably just trying to push all they can right now, knowing that they'll make it to the end of the race. Meanwhile, Camden Hibbett and Mitchell Peak still have yet to make their pit stop.
Well, and I wanted you to take a look at that as well. We're watching Camden and Mitchell work together much better than Eugenio and Ronnie Coates. But that's not saying that these guys aren't still going to come out ahead, because Camden and Mitchell, speaking of, look at them coming together. So this is going to be it. So forget about everything I was about to say and let's just watch this pit stop.
Yeah, it looks like Ronnie Coates, Eugenio Polici heading out of Variante Alta now and towards Ravazza. We'll have the pit exit cam to see who gets out of the pit lane first, and it looks like they just got into their pit stalls as Ronnie Coates and Eugenio Polici at this moment heading into Ravazza right now. You'll see some open drivers that decided to stay out again heading by. That's Sean Hayes, Josh Olson, Jose Gonzalez, and Charles Vaccaro. But now, as the 31 of the 7 car head down the front straight, it looks like Camden Hibbett and Mitchell Peak are just now heading out of their stalls and heading towards pit exit. And it looks like, I think, Ronnie Coates and Eugenio Polici are going to end up better than, there's Mitchell Peak heading out of the pits. Here's Camden Hibbett way up in front of him. So it looks like Ronnie Coates going to stay within drafting distance, especially because Camden is on cold tires. So it looks like Ronnie Coates and Eugenio Polici, great pit stop from them to come early. They'll be back in it for the final 20 minutes of this race.
Yeah, like I said, to bring it back to it's been kind of a hectic couple laps of everybody figuring out their pit stops, all that stuff. But I'm surprised at how tight everybody's still keeping it on the track. That we don't have very many off tracks, but there's a couple drivers that stick out to me. Otis Adams, he's got 6 right now. He leads everybody with 6 off tracks. Ashley Lyle has 4, and
Simon
Foweather with 5. Yes, but other than that, everybody else is still keeping it nice and tight.
Yeah, everybody else keeping it clean and tidy. Oh, yeah, I noticed that too. That might have been Mitchell.
That was Foweather.
Oh, I mean, one of them got a little sideways through Piratella. I know that much. I'm not sure which one of them it was.
It was Foweather. That was definitely Foweather getting wide. Got very wide. And as you were talking about the off tracks, Jacob, I just saw, I apologize, Otis pick up another one going through what I knew was going to be a problem, Variante Alta. So it's going to be interesting now that these guys are really starting to fight. With Otis already at a 7X, we're about halfway through the race right now. But these guys are going to start fighting harder. Right now, Otis is in the lead by a long shot, and he's out here by himself. This is not going to go well for him when he has to come into pit.
Yeah, he probably is going to have to come into the pits this lap, probably just trying to have the shortest pit stop possible there. Doesn't pit with his teammate, which surprised me a little bit, as it looks like as Cameron Hibbett and Ronnie Coates and Polici head down the front straight now, Rui Coimbra is rolling off the pit lane, so it looks like, I'm not sure, I think, oh yeah, they'll definitely get him. Rui Coimbra is probably not going to be in this pack, as now they just got by him, and they just got by him by a lot, and there's a race off pit road in the open class as well. Ashley Lyle heading through Variante Basso right now, and down at the front straightaway as all the other open drivers are exiting the pit lane. Charles Vaccaro got out first out of all of them, and Ashley Lyle, it looks like she's going to easily retake the lead with little to no competition. Ashley Lyle, she has a great pit run now and has a very big gap to the next open class driver who is now Bruce Silva.
Here's the other thing to think about, Alex, as we start talking about these pit stops and how important they were. Look at how much earlier some of these drivers came in. And then there was a bit of a gap, probably a 4 or 5 lap gap, and then the rest of them came in. So I wonder how much fuel saving these guys that came in, these drivers that came in so much earlier are going to have to do as Searle tries to make a move on Lyle but keeps it behind her. Do you think there's going to have to be any fuel saving going on? And that's a question for both of you guys.
I would assume that in both of the people that did an undercut and the people that did an overcut, I would assume that there is going to be a bit of fuel saving involved on both sides. As, I mean, if you pit early, I mean, you only take enough fuel you need to finish the race. But then again, with trying to get in and out of the pits as quick as possible, you might underfuel the car, have to save a little bit. Meanwhile, if you pit late, trying to take the least amount of fuel possible, you underfuel the car, and you have to save a little bit.
Yeah, Alex, and with everybody coming through doing their pits now, and everybody's pretty much done. Everybody's on good tires. Everybody's going to be looking to make some moves, regain their position, and close out the race.
Yeah, here's Otis Adams Jr. just got into his pit stall. It looks like, yeah, Ronnie's going to easily retake the lead after he just got by Camden Hibbett now. Is Otis Adams Jr., there he is, exiting the pit lane, and it looks like even his teammate's going to get back by him, as well as Mitchell Peak. And I want to take a moment to look at the gap from Mitchell Peak to Eugenio Polici in front of these drivers, and that is not a very large gap. I mean, if if Mitchell Peak and Rui Coimbra hit their marks, they could close that gap and bring themselves back into contention for the win. That's just what they're going to have to try and do. I mean, they just have to try and close this gap down, just try and get it to narrow, just try and catch back up to Polici. And it looks like that's exactly what Mitchell Peak is doing. Has a lot of speed in that 56 car, almost driving away from Rui Coimbra, as the other 3 drivers struggle to race against each other right now. Just about 16 minutes left in this race, and it's starting to really heat up. We might end up having a 5-car battle for the win if Mitchell Peak can close this gap and take Rui Coimbra with him. But I would reckon that's not what Eugenio Polici and Camden Hibbett or Ronnie Coates want. They know how fast Mitchell Peak is. But Jacob, do you think he can close the gap?
I think there's definitely going to be some attempts. It's going to be tight. It's going to be a little gnarly. Hopefully that's what we want to see as a spectator, but at the same time we want to see clean racing, but I'd like to see a little rubbing his racing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it absolutely, it will be rubbing his racing, and we're going to see that at the end, especially as these drivers we're going to see some alliances probably form and some alliances get broken as well, as these drivers are going to continue to try to push up to the driver ahead, but some of them are going to want to race. And I mentioned a little earlier about Eugenio, that he wants to race. He wants this win, and you can see that. He doesn't even care where Camden Hibbett is. He's going to go for another move, I bet you, going down this front stretch. He is taking no prisoners. He's not trying to push Camden Hibbett up to the back of Ronnie Coates. He's going to try to take that second place if he gets the run, and it looks like he's got it, and he's going to go for Coates himself.
Yeah, and I mean, like you mentioned, Adam, Eugenio Polici wanting to win this race, the hometown hero in that number 7 car. really wants to win this race right now, and you can see he just passed Camden Hibbett with authority, and might I mention, Mitchell Peak is caught up to these drivers, so now Mitchell Peak has put himself back into contention for this win here. We saw how he was able to get around Camden Hibbett and Eugenio Polici, and pretty much Ronnie Coates too earlier in the race. He's going to have to do it all over again, but he now has a shot at it again. Here's Otis Adams Jr. and Simon Foweather side by side in Atosa. It looks like Otis might have tried the over-under there, but couldn't get it done. Simon Foweather going to hold on to 6th place, and now another question that has arisen. Can drivers like Simon Foweather or Rui Coimbra catch back up to the leaders? Jacob, I know it's a bit longer of a gap, but do you think they can do it? Is actually they're racing?
If they can hit properly use some drafting techniques and hitting their corners right, and hit, it
was really close.
Getting a little loose there, and
yeah, and that's another off track. Jacob, I know you like to talk about the off tracks. That's up to 8 for Otis Adams Jr.
Off tracks are usually my highest statistic. It's what I specialize in. Call me anytime.
Oh, here, I'll go ahead and, we can list specializations real fast while we have a little bit of a break in the action. My specialization, I don't think I pronounced that correctly. I don't think I did, but my specialization is, I like you, Jacob, I do run ovals usually. My pro stat, I am an absolute god at burning off the right front tire. Like I can be going 2 miles an hour around the apron. I'll still have the worst tires over a 10-lap run. Like, I'm just so good at burning off that right front tire. Adam, what about you? That's actually, no, hold that thought. There's drivers side by side at forcing positions here as Michael Coates going for a move on Simon Foweather down into the Tamburello chicane. He'll get that one done, but it looks like almost sends himself off the racetrack there, as it looks like Mitchell Peak and Camden Hibbett side by side right now, racing with Eugenio Polici as well. This is exactly what Ronnie Coates wants to see. They can't be doing this. And it looks like, contact there. Polici sends himself and Peak off track. Peak is going to go around, and that's going to give Ronnie Coates a huge lead. Peak toes back to the pits before anyone has a shot to hit him. And Eugenio Polici wanted to win this race. I don't know if he can do it anymore.
No, I don't think he can, Alex, and that is a detrimental collision right there. Polici really wanted that, and the fact he's going to have some interesting comments on that action, I guarantee it.
Yeah, and that's just really unfortunate. That's just really what we don't want to see. We want to see a little bit of Robbins race and a little bit of fun, but just unfortunate driving is, no one's really at fault. It's a racing deal. It's two drivers going for broke, trying to just better themselves for the end of the race, and it's just all went south. Just slight mistakes on both parties ends up sending them around, but one driver that has not made any mistakes so far is Ashley Lyle, and she's just cruising away from the field right now, as currently 3.8 seconds from her nearest open class competitor, so she just needs to just cruise around for the final 10 minutes of this race, and she'll have gone 2 in a row.
Well, if you look at this, the help that she has right now from Searle, and the fact that they're working together is helping them a lot. I bet you if we go back here and we look at Brian Zabelski and Sean Hayes, they may not be doing the same thing. Right now they are, but we'll see what happens when we get down to the front stretch. You can see Searle and Lyle are working together right now and just absolutely pulling a gap. It's up to 3.5 seconds now. See what happens as they enter. My goodness, as Zabelski gets a little bit wide, and there we go. Sean Hayes down to the inside. And now let's go see and look and see what Searle and Lyle are doing. They're still nose to tail, working together.
Yeah, and that's just exactly what Ashley has to do if she wants to win this race. Just has to try and chill out with Searle. I reckon Searle might race her a little bit for a top 10, but other than that, Searle really doesn't have a reason to race her. So, they can just hang out as Camden Hibbett has closed this gap back down. So this is going to give us a little bit of a race for the lead in the final 10 minutes of this race. The question is, when does Camden Hibbett go for a move? As it looks like, unless Eugenio Polici can pull out something really special here, it might just be Camden Hibbett and Ronnie Coates to the end. side by side into Piratella. There was Simon Foweather making a move on Otis Adams Jr. up the inside. That's pretty much been Foweather's sweet spot. I mean, he's been passed. He's passed other drivers through there. Just a lot of action for Simon Foweather through a Piratella right now, heading through Acqua Minerale towards Variante Alta for these drivers. And the question is, I mean, I'm not sure if they can, but can these drivers catch back up to Camden Hibbett and Ronnie Coates? It's going to be a pretty tall order, but if they work together and stay clean, they might have a slim shot.
Yeah, like slim indeed. But might I point out, Simon Foweather and Otis Adams Jr. right next to each other, two of the kind of leaders of off tracks. We'll see. They've been kind of loosey-goosey, but we'll see if they kind of use the loosey-goosey together to make a beautiful team.
Yeah, Otis Adams Jr. halfway away from a drive-through penalty, and I know there's only about 8 minutes left in this race, but that is still... I mean, if Otis Adams Jr. just starts driving really aggressively, starts getting several X's a lap, that's going to lead him to just pretty much getting a drive-through, and that would just end his race right now, as Alexander Searle just had something happen to him because he just tumbled down the order. He's into the pits now, as Ashley Lyle's going to be all her lonesome, as something just happened to Alexander Searle. This is into Ravazza. Maybe he missed his braking zone. Oh, yeah, he did. He missed his braking zone. Has to slam on the brakes to miss Ashley. And then I'm not sure why he just came to a stop there. I mean, he definitely still had a shot. He could have kept going. He could have just hit the gas, brought it back on track, maybe gotten out of the racing line, and he would have been fine. But he toes back to the pits, and that's going to take him out of this race, and that's going to give Sean Hayes, if he can work with Brian Zabelski and Jose Gonzalez, that might give Sean Hayes a shot to catch back up to the open class leaders. Eugenio Polici trying to do the same thing.
Can I be honest with you right now, Alex? Look at that train of car behind Eugenio Polici. If these guys hook up and they get together, I can expect they've got to do it here within the next couple minutes. But if they can get it done, I don't think Ronnie Coates and Camden Hibbett are safe up there in first and second.
Well, I don't know.
It'll be a tight last laps.
Yeah, Jacob, like you said, it's going to be a tight last couple laps. Sorry for interrupting you there. It's going to be a tight last couple of laps, and I mean, that field is pretty spread out right now. I mean, for that to work, they would have to get right on top of each other and also close the gap to Polici and just try and stay single file elsewhere on the track and just wait for the one part on the front stretch where they can just all floor it. So I don't know if they can do it. Jacob, what's your take?
They might be able to do it, and I really, like Adam said, if they work together and hook up together, they could pull together and overtake Polici here. And then at that point, they're all going to be working together to hit up Camden Hibbett and Ronnie Coates and see what they can do with them.
Well, I wouldn't even be wanting to overtake Polici at this point. I know they're going to be faster. I think we all probably realize that they're going to catch Polici at a rate of knot, and they are. Those back three cars, Coimbra, Coates, and Foweather, are all starting to come together right now. If they can get up to Polici, and if they can get to him at the right point, three cars, really a four-car train down the front stretch as they're about to come into Tosa. If they can get four cars together down that front stretch, I would expect 0.7 of a second to get pulled out of this gap, just enough to get Polici back into that draft range. That's all he needs, but it has to happen this lap. It has to.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about that is, I mean, we're just shy of minute 40 in this race. We're going to have maybe 2 or 3 laps left when they get back to the line. That is only 2 or 3, probably only 2 front stretch opportunities for these drivers to use that draft to catch back up to Camden Hibbett and Ronnie Coates, who, might I mention, are right on top of each other at the moment. So I don't know if they can pull it off. I mean, only 2 or 3 front stretches where they can use that draft is, I don't think they can do it. I mean, me personally, I would love to see it happen. I would love to see them do it, but especially now with a 3-second gap, I don't think they can pull it off in the limited amount of time they had. Maybe if they had 15 or 20 minutes left, they might have a decent shot, but with only under 5 minutes remaining in the race, I just can't see them being able to make it happen. With Sean Hayes trying to make something happen as he's starting to slowly close down the gap to Ashley Lyle.
Yeah, I mean, another thing that I want to talk about here with these top two, their race isn't over yet. They may be working together now, but the question is going to be when they decide to not work together anymore, Alex. And that's going to be huge. If they decide to start racing each other with 4 minutes left, we got about 10 seconds left before that happens, then the race is on with everybody behind them if they want to stay together to get up to race for a win or if they're going to start racing for third. That is going to be the big question here. Who goes first? Who makes the first move? Because it only takes one, and it only takes one wrong move as well, Alex, to just destroy these top two or the top three.
Yeah, and another thing about that is if Ronnie Coates and Camden Hibbett start racing, say they start racing now, say every corner they can, they start going side by side, they start going back and forth, that's just going to completely slow down this entire group of cars. Speaking of slowing cars down, that's exactly what Rui Coimbra just did to this group as he's trying to get around Eugenio Politi now. They can't be doing this. It's going to slow them all down as Rui Coimbra not going to be able to make that move stick on the outside. He'll be side by side with Michael Coates now. And just, this is not what they need to be doing right now. They need to start working together with only 3 minutes left in this race if they want to give themselves a shot.
Now, look at that gap. It's already too late, man. Look at that gap. It is gained. They have lost a second over 4 corners. It's already over. Now they're racing for third at this point.
Yeah, but the thing is, if Camden Hibbett and Ronnie Coates race, like if they start to race every corner right now, I mean, that gap would start to close down tremendously. And when they start racing later in the race, it's going to get aggressive. It's going to get feisty. And I mean, if these two hit each other and end up both going off track, that could open the door for Politi and Coimbra and all those drivers to come pile in and try and steal something here. Oh, Eugenio Politi really loose off that chicane. Rui Coimbra is probably definitely going to take this opportunity. It looks like he'll get to the right side of the Italian here as they head down towards Ravazza for what might be the second to final time tonight. It looks like they'll be side by side to the first part. Looks like Eugenio Politi going to hold on to it now, but I want to swap back to the leaders. I want to see if this is going to be the white flag. I want to look at the starter stand here as they head down the front straightaway and see whether or not this is the final lap of the race. Yes, it is. This is the final lap of the race, and Hibbett's going for the move now. Here they go side by side down the front straightaway. For the final time tonight, Camden Hibbett going to overtake him before they even get to the corner. They're 3 wide in this backfield. Camden Hibbett takes the lead, but the battle is on for third. Rui gets pushed into the corner by Foweather. They keep it clean. Politi into third. Side by side for sixth as Foweather is going to retake that spot. Michael Coates now making a move towards Villeneuve. It looks like, I mean, I can't tell who's gonna come out on top of this. Michael Coates has the edge into the corner. He'll keep the edge through the corner. Michael Coates takes over third place.
Absolutely electric driving out of Michael Coates. Made the move on Politi, and then he just opened up the gateway for everybody else behind him. Politi drops back to 7th.
I think Politi may have had a slowdown there because he really hit the brakes going in to Tosa. So I think he had a slowdown, and that has just allowed all these guys to continue their race. But look at this. Look who made the move. Don't know where it happened. We'll go back and look at it after the race, but this one's not over yet. This one is not over yet because as they come out of Ravazza, Coates is going to have all of that slipstream, and you know he's going to go for it. He may even try to go for it before that.
Well, Adam, I hate to break it to you, but we did see the move for the lead. It happened before turn 1 down the front straightaway. So Ronnie Coates needs to make something happen now, or it's going to be all Camden Hibbett as they come through the final corner. It's the final braking opportunity. Ronnie Coates could try a dive bomb. Not sure how risky it would be, though. As they headed towards Ravazza for the final time tonight, Ronnie Coates trying to get the brakes perfect through this final couple of corners. He needs to get this exit absolutely perfect if he wants a shot down the front straightaway. It looks like Hibbett's going to best him down this part, though. And now Coates is out of fuel. He's slowing down. He's out of gas. That's going to leave Camden Hibbett to come to the line. Camden Hibbett victorious from Imola. And it looks like Ronnie Coates going to maintain P2. Michael Coates gets third. Rui Coimbra in fourth. Simon Foweather there in fifth. Otis Adams Jr. in sixth. Eugenio Politi in seventh. Nicky Borovic in eighth. Lee Martin is going to finish ninth. And then the next winning driver, Ashley Lyle. She won last week at Twin Ring Motegi. She will win here at Imola. Ashley Lyle victorious from from Italy in Imola. 2 in a row for her. Sean Hayes going to have to settle for second again. Brian Zabelski there in 12th. Jose Gonzalez third in class. Ray Lombardi there in 14th. Charles Vaccaro 15th. Josh Olson 16th. Here's Bruce Silva, started second, just couldn't find the pace in that number 19 car. He'll finish 18th or 17th, excuse me. Tom Athan is going to finish 18th here, and Paulo Coimbra is going to be the last car to come to the line. They're in 19th as Alexander Searle and Mitchell Peak end up not finishing the race after incidents earlier. Alexander Searle's happened when he almost cleaned out Ashley Lyle into Ravazza there, but he ended up keeping it on track and just towed back to the pit lane to avoid having to get in everybody's way. But here's your results from tonight. Camden Hibbett there in P1 after Ronnie Coates runs out of fuel coming to the line. He'll finish P2. Michael Coates, after a long last lap battle between 5 cars, finishes third. Ruby Coimbra's there in fourth. Simon Foweather in fifth. Otis Adams Jr. in sixth. Eugenio Polici, the hometown driver, looks like he'll end up in seventh. Not the best finish for him, but still a great race for him at one of his home tracks. Nicky Borovic is there in eighth. Lee Martin in 9th, Ashley Lyle in 10th, Sean Hayes in 11th, Brian Sabelski in 12th, Jose Gonzalez in 13th, Ray Lombardi in 14th, Charles Vaccaro in 15th, and actually, I completely forgot, Ashley Lyle, I didn't mention it, I do apologize, the winner of the Open class once again, 2 in a row from Twin Ring Motegi, now to Imola. Sean Hayes settles for second, again back to where we were. Josh Olson finishes 16th, Bruce Silva in 17th, Tom Athan in 18th, and behind them to round the field off, Paulo Coimbra there in 19th, and Alexander Searle and Mitchell Peak do not end up finishing the race there in 20th and 21st, respectively. And it looks like we can start, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we can start bragging in some drivers for interviews. The first one is going to be the winner of your Open class 2 weeks in a row, Ashley Lyle. You did it again, this time from Imola.
I hit the wrong button. I'm sorry. I was talking in the race again. Wasn't the prettiest one, though. I need to apologize to Ray again publicly here, because I don't know if I came up off the apex into him, or I don't know if I said index or apex. I'm sorry. I don't know if I came up into him or if he crowded me a bit, but the contact was still ultimately on me. But yeah, I went off track, I think, in every corner at least once. That was embarrassing. Sloppiest race I've won.
Well, you didn't get the most incidents. I'll give you the stat. I won't tell you his name, but the driver that got the most X's did get 12, I believe, by the time they had crossed the line. So you didn't get the most X's, and I would still say it's a pretty solid victory. You got the pit strategy absolutely perfect. What did he have to do through there?
I don't think I underfueled comparatively to anyone I was racing around, but I think I got into the pits more aggressively. And even then, I kind of threw a soft one in there. I could have gone into that deeper, but I think this time with who I was racing with, that was the significant factor.
Yeah, and anybody you want to thank before we let you go? That was just a fantastic race from you.
I definitely don't want to thank the people who made this godforsaken track. I cannot stand this place. I want to thank you guys for the broadcast and doing the job that you always do. I'm going to watch it afterwards because I love doing it. Thanks to Greg for allowing me in here. And as normal, thanks to my mom.
Ashley, Adam Thompson here. All right. You're going to have to knock this off. All right. This is your second race in a row that I've heard you come in and say, oh, I just really didn't do that great. I hate this track. Didn't do well. You took another Open class win, and you almost took it. Yeah, Sean Hayes was back behind you by the end of the race, but you took it with a pretty healthy margin. It was an unbelievable race for you. So the next time we drag you into this interview waiting booth, or this booth, I want to hear a little bit more excitement out of you, Ashley.
The next time I'm in here, I'm going to tell you I love you. I hope you realize that.
Well, you just did, so you don't have to wait till the next time.
That's a fair point. But admittedly, I don't think last week I said I hated the track. I don't remember last week, but I've never liked Imola at all. And in fairness, today I think I hit 3 people. So,
well, you just outed yourself on stream. Sorry, Jacob. Go ahead.
I don't care. I'll take the penalty. I deserve them if it's my fault.
Ashley, Jacob here. First of all, absolutely electric performance. Loved watching you again. I'm assuming that this is the new norm that we're going to see out of you for the rest of the season. So you've set yourself with a pretty high standard in my eyes, just so you know. But keep it up. Great racing. Anyway, we'll probably see you next week.
That would be pretty cool, but I don't even remember what track is next week. I mean, I might not be here regularly, but I'm promising y'all I'm winning the open class championship at least. All right, y'all interview the words.
Yes.
The other winner. Go interview Camden. He ran a good race.
All right, well, I'll drag you back. Congrats on the win, Ashley, and we'll hope to see you up here again next week. And I'm actually not even sure what track. Oh, we're at Phillip Island next week. That's going to be a heck of a race.
Man.
Well, hopefully we'll see you up here again then, or whenever you do race next. But that's it. Have a good night.
Y'all enjoy your night as well.
Unless you had something to say about Phillip Island. I heard you say, "Oh man."
I'm gonna hold my words about that track until I happen to win next week, and then I'll complain about it.
Fair enough.
This is just going to be a normal thing, is what it sounds like. You're going to come in, you're going to complain about the track, but you're still going to win.
He's in a
no,
rhythm
dude! I'm
right
gonna
now.
when I win Mid Ohio, I'm gonna be coming in here talking high praise about that track. That's a beautiful racetrack.
All right, Ashley, thank you so much. We're gonna get you out of here before we start getting ourselves in trouble.
Absolutely, deuces, y'all.
All right, have a good night, Ashley.
Y'all as well.
All right, and that was Ashley Lyle, your open class winner, and yeah, we'll gloss over the upcoming streams real fast, as it looks like Camden has not shown his face for us just yet. And it looks like, just another fantastic race once again. I mean, that was just great race from the Spec-5 World Tour drivers once again. I mean, never really fails to disappoint. Jacob, what's your take on it?
It was an exciting race. I mean, it gave me a new respect for these Mazdas. I saw it last week a little bit firsthand. This week, I really saw how loose it can get in these tight corners, how technical it can get, and how important it is to follow the leader. Have a buddy. It was fun.
Yeah, and your upcoming broadcasts here on Slow Motion Broadcasting this Sunday at 9 a.m. EST, the WSRL Endurance Series returns with the LMP2, GT3, and GT4 cars from the Nürburgring combined circuit. And at 8:10 p.m. EST, the XSLR Championship returns with the Volkswagen Beetle lights from Crandon International Raceway. You saw, I hope you guys were watching for the last Volkswagen Beetle light race for them at Wild West, because it was an absolutely incredible race. And then next Monday, the final race of Season 2 of the XTC, the Cross Touring Cup Championship, with their GT3 and GT4 cars. That's going to be coming to you from Le Mans. That's going to be their second and final hour-and-a-half race of the season, double of what they normally run. The next Tuesday, the WSRL Series returns at 8:50 p.m. EST with the LMP2 and GT3 cars from the Red Bull Ring. And then on Thursday, the WSRL Indy Road Series with the Dallara IR18s. I don't think that track is accurate, so I am going to go ahead and find it real quick myself. Oh, never mind. Adam's got me covered in my ear. Nürburgring GP is where they will be headed in the WSRL Indy Road Series with the Dallara IR18 Indy cars. And then we'll be back next week at 9:15 p.m. EST for the Spec-5 World Tour Race 3 at Phillip Island. And it looks like, before we round it off, we've got one sponsor ready to do, and that is for TPC Motorsports, which is a 4-year-old racing team based in Birmingham, Alabama, that currently races a Caterham 7420R in the HSR series in a BMW Spec E46. But it looks like that is going to do it for us. My name is Alex Andersen. I have been joined in the commentary booth by Jacob Cummings with Adam Thompson in our virtual production truck. And from Race 2 of Season 11 of the Spec-5 World Tour from Imola, we'll see you next time. Bye.